Caro says, I find the fact that you say that women in their 40s aren't interested in sex utterly depressing. No, I never said, who is this? This can't be a woman saying that. Women in their 40s are not interested in sex. It's just different. It's like, it's different between men when they're 16 and they're like getting an erection in gym class or English class or every class, and when they're 40 and they're not. So everybody's sex drive attenuates over time, but you can definitely enjoy yourself in bed in your 40s and beyond. What I say is that within monogamy and with age, women stop having the spontaneous desire as much as responsive desire. So it just doesn't go away. It's not like, oopsie, you turned 40 and have no more sex drive. Things change. Things change into where you need, much like men do, more touch. That you need more touch. So I have this podcast. Yes, you're supposed to interact with a soft penis, because a lot of guys don't get hard without touch as they get older. And then if women are like kind of embarrassed and men are embarrassed, then what happens? They end up not having sex at all because she doesn't understand that you can get him hard. Well, that's the same thing. That's responsive desire. So that's like the equivalent. She has to be touched in order to want to have sex, in order to get aroused. So that's how it changes over. And of course you don't want to have as much sex as you did when you were like 21 years old, but neither does the guy. And they often don't know that till they go off of porn and they stop artificially fluffing their sex drive. How can a husband and wife become more intimate? Husbands usually want intimacy. Do you mean sex? Husbands usually want sex? Yes, husbands usually want sex. But there's a million ways for a husband and wife to become more intimate in and outside of the bedroom. What do you mean exactly? So I have lots on my podcast and posts. I have like one like top 10 ways to make your highly sensitive wife want sex a lot more. I mean, there's a million ways to make sex better. A lot of it, people are not even on the same page. They don't know each other's erotic blueprints. I've written about that. They don't know how to touch each other. They don't share any fantasies. They don't talk at all. There's a lot of resentment underneath that stops them from having sex. They don't understand that their bodies may work differently outside of the honeymoon stage and with older age. There's like a million ways to work on your sexual intimacy. If you want to do that, then we have this sexologist on staff, Heather, and Heather can work with you and or your partner on different ways to reconnect purely sexually. If you mean in other ways, I mean, man, like a million ways. I have a book, 52 Emails to Transform Your Marriage, where I guide you through different ways to talk to each other via email or not, talk about different topics. I just have a new podcast about ways, how much you should stay connected in everyday life. Like what's like a reasonable amount to stay connected with each other. It's my most recent episode of the Dr. Psych Mom Show. So look that one up. So I'm not exactly sure exactly what you mean, if you just mean sex or not. Kara says, in fact, I am. I don't remember what that is about. But hopefully, Carol, you liked my response, because women in their 40s are not uninterested in sex. Many of them are having great sex. It's just a matter of the transition over to responsive desire, which doesn't mean that you never think about sex. One of my podcasts is, do high libido women have spontaneous desire over, like as they get older within monogamy? The highly sensitive, the high libido women have spontaneous desire? No, not usually, not unless you're ovulating or you're in the first half of your cycle at the very least, but you're gonna like sex. So then you initiate it, you want it, you get ready for it because you like it. It's not that you're sitting there actively fantasizing constantly like you may have when you were 20 years old, but you know that you're going to enjoy it once you start. So responsive desire also does not preclude the woman initiating. There's like a lot of myths about, all responsive desire means is it's like the guy with the penis, where you have to touch it as he gets older for him to get hard, versus before where he was just hard. That's all it is. It's just that a woman needs to be touched to get in the mood. That's all that responsive desire is. And if people don't understand it and they make it into something that it's not, then it's like a death knell. And separately, of course, no human in their 40s, when their fertility is waning, wants to have sex as much as a totally fertile mammal in their young 20s. unless, of course, and this is pretty interesting, unless the woman's been on birth control forever and she's been taught to be super ashamed of her body, and then like her 40s are the first time where she's off hormonal birth control, maybe she's off SSRIs, all these dampeners, and she's not embarrassed of her body and she's gotten more confident, then people can, enjoy sex more. But that's not physical. It's not like you're more orgasmic then or something. Like the younger you are is always when that's going to go better for men and for women. But there are a lot of mental variables that compensate.